Good morning, students. Good morning, all of you. I hope you all are well and doing great, and are also following the COVID precaution, as well as you all are very serious uh, for your classes and for your worksheet submission. I hope you all are serious for that, because I'm not getting enough a good response from all of you. So I want you to submit your worksheet timely, and please watch the videos also, so that if you have any confusion, then I can sort it out. So I have completed the chapter metals and non-metal, and I hope you would be able to understand that very well. And that chapter is very important. It will help you in your higher studies as well. So please go through the chapter if you haven't watched the video yet, and ask the question, your doubts, everything. Okay. So now we move to the next chapter, that is coal and petroleum. So the topics which we're gonna cover in this chapters are: so introduction, natural resources, exhaustible natural resources, inexhaustible natural resources, coal, petroleum, natural gas, judicious use of natural resources. So these are the topics which we will cover. And now the name, what are natural resources? So those substances that exist in nature and they are useful to mankind, so they are called natural resources. For them, we cannot create them artificially. If you want to create, they tend to exist in nature by themselves. We can't create them, okay? And they are extremely useful to mankind in many different ways. So most of them are the wonderful sources of energy. So some of the examples are soil, and we all know how important soil is. The growth and the development of plant, they all depend on soil. Soil is rich in minerals. So all the entire ecosystem, living organisms, they depend on soil. The soil is one such natural resources. Now air. Now we live because of the air. We breathe air. So air, which is present around us, is something which is extremely important for the survival of all living organisms. And do you think we can create air? No. So air is something which exists naturally. Water is another such natural resource. Forest, wildlife. So these are the examples of natural resources. Some other examples of natural resources are coal, petroleum. So these are all examples of natural resources. Now these are all natural resources because we cannot create coal, we cannot create petroleum. So in this lesson, our agenda is to talk in more detail about these two natural resources, that is coal and petroleum. So we will see how they are beneficial to us, how do they help us. Now just to tell you in a brief, you would have seen that coal is being used to, when you burn coal, you get a lot of heat, fire, and that heat is utilized for many different purposes, like it is used for for cooking purposes. Coal is also used for the generation of electricity. The heat energy of the coal is transformed into electrical energy. So that's how the energy is utilized. Petroleum. There is so many products which we obtain from petroleum, like petrol, diesel, kerosene, and all of them are useful too. So these type of resources are called natural resources. Now the question is, why do we manage resource? Why do we talk about that? You have heard that people say that we have to take care of the natural resources, we do not waste them, we try to reserve them. So why do we talk about managing the resources? Because resources are limited. Even if not all the resources, but those resources which take long time to form, we can say that they are limited. Now if you take an example of resources like air, water, or coal and petroleum, if you compare all these, so when you look at the variability of air, you feel that air is so much around us. So why do we need managed air? Because air is available to all of us. Now, when we talk about coal and petroleum, so do you know that our coal is formed by, it is actually a very time consuming process. It takes millions of years to coal and petroleum to form. So when you are able to prepare something over a million of years, so you should not let that exhaust in a couple of years. So managing the resources is also important, so that we can ensure that we will even the distribution of resources to all, equal distribution. So you see that a lot of resources are limited. So when you have which is something limited, so we need to ensure that everybody gets equal share of it. Otherwise what will happen? All of it get consumed by a certain group of people, and some other group of people will remain deprived of it. So that's where we need to ensure to manage the resources. So for one, those which are limited and which cannot be recreated over and over again. Protect the environment, because making use of these resources also harm the environment in a certain way. For example, if we use coal, petroleum, when we burn them, it produces a lot of pollution. So we also need to take care that the resources are being used in such a way so that it can protect our environment. So these are some of the list where we talk about the managing the resources. Now if we talk about the types of natural resources, broadly there are two types. One is renewable or inexhaustible, and the other one is non-renewable and exhaustible. So if you are able to use something over and again, that is, it is not getting over, it is continuously created. So one such example would be air. So that is called renewable resources. So air is always present around us, and it can be used over and over again. The breathing air, you also breathe out air. So air being present around us all the time. So it is inexhaustible. Exhaust means something which gets that is called exhaustible or non-renewable. So renewable are inexhaustible, and one such example is air. And non-renewable resources, there are just the opposite of renewable. These are, once we have used them, they are gone, they are finished. So they cannot be renewed over again. So one such example is coal. So once you burn coal, you can utilize the heat energy in some way. So you just lost that amount of coal. So you cannot use it again. So these type of resources are also called exhaustible, because they get finished, and moreover the next let's talk of coal to form. It takes million of years to form. So you use that coal, you just need a couple of hours if you use air. So that you say that the stock get finished after using the coal in a period of time. So these are the exhaustible resources. Now in this lesson we are going to talk only about the exhaustible resources, which is we are going to focus in this lesson. Now let's define inexhaustible natural resources which can be used over and again, and that is why they are also called renewable resources. But unlimited stock is always there, it's never get over. So that is called renewable. Sunlight, example, earth, sunlight, wind and air. You always have them around you, sunlight, wind and air. On the other hand, the exhaustible resources, they cannot be used over and again, and they are also a limited stock. So the chances of getting over is more, because they take a lot of time to get formed, but in a small time they get utilized. So the examples of these kind of non-renewable sources are coal, petroleum and mineral, etc. As I said, coal, all of you are aware of coal, petroleum and mineral, diesel. They all are the components of petroleum. So the minerals are substances which are formed naturally inside the earth. So example of minerals could be the precious stone, the gemstones, ruby, diamond, emeralds. They are all example of minerals. So one very important application of mineral is that metals are extracted from all these things. Metals like gold, silver, copper, zinc. So they all come from minerals. So these minerals they are exhaustible. their formation needs a long period of time, so we should utilize them very judicially so that before they get lost, we should be able to live with the existing stock. So why do we have so much of concern with the exhaustible resource? Because the inexhaustible resources are, the stock will never ending. It's a unlimited stock, so we do not much bother about it. Okay. So however, that approaches is not right, but that is how it is. So when it comes to inexhaustible resources, that you have a limited stock, it is just like this jar of chocolates. So you see the jar is like not even full, so this much stock is what you have. So now let us suppose there are 2 students in the class to eat who want to eat these chocolates. Obviously it is half of the chocolate, but still there are 2 students, they are quite enough. Now let us suppose that they start eating the chocolates, 1 or 2. So the chocolates start decreasing. Now if the number of students increases, now instead of 2 there are 10 students feeding on the same jar which is half full of chocolate. So what will happen? The number of chocolates inside the jar will reduce suddenly, and it will reduce a lot because now more people are there to consume the chocolates. So what's gonna happen now? Now if you just see the jar, the number of chocolate left are very less because all of them are consumed, and you cannot refill the jar because it is exhaustible resources. You do not have a supply of chocolates all the time. So the next supply come maybe after 10 years or so. So you just can't fill the bottle again. Now what will happen if 2 more students come? So now if the number of students come still now, and what happened? There are no more chocolate left over for them to eat. So in this case what happened is you had a limited stock, you had a limited number of chocolates. Those who came initially, they had all of them, and those who came a little late, there is nothing left for them. So what was wrong in this case? So in firstly you have a limited stock, that was one thing, but you can't do anything about that because of the production is limited. It takes so much of time and you cannot artificially produce it. So absolutely you do not have control on that amount. You just know that this much is the stock, but not that stock. The thing which we done wrong this time is initially those who came, they ate it all. So there is no equal distribution of the chocolate. There is an unfair distribution of chocolate, and that is why those who came earlier, they had enough chocolate, and those who came late, there is nothing left for them. And this is the main concern of exhaustible resources. So when you talk about exhaustible resources like coal and petroleum, they have been formed as a result of millions of years. Now when they are we often see that the present generation people, they try to make an excessive use of, unnecessary use of these kind of resources like coal and petroleum, which is absolutely wrong. But in future generation, we are not, future generation, they come, it might be possible that there is no coal, there is no petroleum left for them. So when we talk about the exhaustible resources, the first resource that strike our mind is fossil fuel. So what are fossil fuel? These are fuels which are formed by natural processes like decomposition of dead plants and animals. So anything which is formed from dead plants and animals, they are called fossil. And since they act as fuel, they are called fossil fuels. For example, coal, petroleum, natural gas. So these are all examples of fossil fuel, because all of them are formed from dead and animals and plants. So when you talk about coal, it is formed from dead plants. Talk about petroleum, it is also formed from dead animals which was once there in the sea. So anything which is formed from dead living organism, they are called fossil fuel. So here we will talk about how coal was formed, how petroleum was formed, and what are the components present inside the coal and petroleum. So we will talk detail about this. Now, what is the importance of fossil fuel? Why they are so important? Firstly, because they are the important sources of energy. Now, if you talk about any fossil fuel or coal, you burn coal, you get a lot of energy, lot of light energy, and this energy is so much that you can actually use them to produce electricity. You talk about petroleum or diesel, they are also very good sources of energy. Domestic purposes, for example, cooking. We make use of this LPG. LPG is nothing but a product of petroleum. Even natural gas, which is available through a pipeline, which is used for domestic purposes. Even, in fact, coal is also used for making for cooking purposes. Now, thermal power plant, where the heat energy from these fossil fuel is used to generate the electricity. So that is the purpose of setting the thermal power plant. Now, the question is, how were the fossil fuel formed? As I said, it is formed from dead plant and animal, but how? So this formed during the Carboniferous period. Which one? That is Carboniferous period, about 360 to 286 million years ago. So you can imagine how past we are talking about. So that time, that period is called Carboniferous period because there is a role of carbon. Carbon was present everywhere. So how the fossil fuel formed? Now, what happened that time was a lot of trees and plants, organisms, they died. So when they died, they sank to the bottom of ocean. So there is a huge portion of earth that time which is covered with water. Now most of these dead plant and animal went to the bottom of the ocean. So over a period of a time, they form a layer of a spongy material called peat. As they went, the water, a lot of other like sand, mud, cave, stones, they get deposited over there on the remains. So after again a couple of years, what happened was those dead trees and plants, they formed a layer called peat. And these peat, as it was covered with more and more stone, sand and clay, it got squeezed. It is something like you leave something, a book on the table, and on the top of the book you keep a lot of stuffs, and as you keep increasing those stuffs, the book gets squeezed. So the peat got squeezed with a lot of all the stuffs like clay and all, and gradually when it becomes squeezed, then it. So if you squeeze the sponge, what happened? The water is getting released, na? So that is how at high temperature and pressure, these dead remains of plants and animals formed coal, petroleum and natural gas. So coal was naturally formed from the remains of dead plants, and petroleum was formed from the dead remains of animals. So this is how it happened, and as you can see, these transformation of dead plant and animal become coal and petroleum. It did not happen. It took millions of years for this transformation to take place. So that's why these are exhaustible resources, because so if we exhaust the fuel, it will become difficult to form again. Okay. For us to form them again. Now, even though the fossil fuel are the great source of energy, but there are some disadvantages associated. Like burning of fossil fuel give a lot of air pollution. It produces not only pollution, it also produces acid rain. A lot of substances is produced during the combustion of these fuel, and when it combined with normal rain, it results in acid rain. So this acid rain contains several acidic oxides. Now these acid rain contain a lot of acidic oxides like carbon oxides, nitrogen oxides and sulfur dioxide, and these oxides, they actually have a lot of harmful effect on not only on living organism but a lot of other things like monuments. So one such example of classic example of adverse effect of acid rain is the Taj Mahal. So if you look at the shining of the Taj Mahal, it has reduced a lot over a past couple of years, and that has happened due to the acid rain. Greenhouse effect. So what happened in the greenhouse effect? So they are also because of the amount of gases which is been greenhouse gases. The amount of those gases like methane and carbon dioxide. So they are basically the house gases, CO2 and methane. When these gases they increase a lot in the atmosphere, what happens is they tend to absorb a lot of heat, and therefore overall there was a global warming. So overall temperature of the earth increases. So we learn about greenhouse effect. Here I will not give the detail of this topic, but the fossil that we burn, more and more carbon dioxide and many other harmful gases release, and increasing the amount of greenhouses gases and all, they contributing the harm. They harm the environment. They harm our environment very much. So these are some of the disadvantages of fossil fuels. So now there are quite reasons. First of all, these are exhaustible resources, and if we use them all at once, nothing will left for the future generation, because fossil fuel are not being formed over 100 and 200. They need some millions of years to form. So the future generation would not have more fossil fuel. So that is one reason. Second thing, a lot of pollution also happen due to the use of fossil fuel. So that is also harm our environment. So we should try to use fossil fuel judiciously. So based on what we have discussed so far about fossil fuel, what do we conclude? That coal and petroleum, these are the resources we use judiciously, so that they are left for our future generation as well. It is very similar to the example of jar of chocolates. So if the present generation, like those students who came early, if they eat all the chocolates, then what will happen? What will be left for the students who are coming little later? Similarly, the present generation, if they use all the coal and petroleum, nothing will be left for the next generation. So now let us discuss about these fossil fuel in detail. So we will start with coal. So coal, I'm sure all of you would have seen coal, you would have used coal. So coal is, as far as look is concerned, they are hard, black, rock like rock, but they are not as heavy as rock. Carbon is what makes coal such a valuable sources of energy. So carbon content in a coal is very high. So that is why when you burn coal, a lot of energy is produced, because we are actually burning carbon. A lot of carbon dioxide get released. So it burns in the presence of air or oxygen. So carbon combined with oxygen to form carbon dioxide. Now the most interesting part, how coal was formed. Now we already got an idea of formation of coal. So coal, we know the story of coal. Now it is formed from the buried dense forest under soil. So several years ago there were areas which were covered with dense forest. Now due to some catastrophic reason, and one such reason like flood, what happened was all these dense forests, they were all devastated, and they went under water. Because when flood happened, it is like you have too much of water everywhere. So all these forests, all the trees, plants get spoiled. They went under the soil, they went under the water. So during floods, they all get underground. And what happens? Now when they got buried, this is how it was. And after flood, it is got dead. All the plants dead. They went under a soil. So you see that there is all water now, and the dead plants are covered with water. So water came on top of it. Now over a period of time, what happened was more and more soil got deposited over there. Here you see, initially it was a little bit of a soil, but gradually there is a big rocks or a small rocks, stones, and more soil and as the content of the soil and rocks, everything increases, then what was happening, this dead plant, this soil get compressed, they get squeezed. When all this squeeze, all the water present in the dead plant, they get released, and same time this dead plant also going deeper inside. So the temperature is also increases, because if you remember in our previous lesson we spoke about the structure of the earth. We said that we have a core, so earth is like a sphere, and the core is where you have a metal, and outside there is a crust. So the temperature is maximum in the interior. So core has the highest temperature. As you come out to the crust or to the earth surface, the temperatures start decreasing. So in this case what happen is, as the dead plants are going deeper, they are basically going towards the center of the earth. So they are actually going towards the where temperatures also increases. So many things are happening there. They are getting squeezed, more and more soil getting deposited over here, and therefore we are losing all that water from the dead plant, they become dry. And at the same time we are going deeper, because more and more materials are getting deposited over it. As they are going deeper, they are exposed to high temperature and pressure. So as a result of this high temperature and pressure, losing all the water, this trees can become a conversion of a dead plants and remains get converted into coal. Okay, so that is how the coal formed. It takes millions of years to form, and that is why the process of coal formation is very, very slow. And this is called carbonization, because it derives the content carbon. So this much is enough for today's video. In the next class I will explain more about it. Thank you, students.